You've had a few of these post-game pressers where you've expressed some frustration after this one, especially following another game where you got blown out. What's the emotion right now?
Just pissed off. You're trying to figure it out. Everybody in the locker room is kind of searching a little bit, trying to understand what's going wrong, why we can't get off to better starts. Moments in the game where you're clawing back, you can't get consecutive stops, bad possessions on offense that affect our confidence and body language and the vibe. There's a lot wrong, but what are you going to do about it? Like, we have to dig deep, figure it out, believe that we are a good team. Got to stop talking about it and around it and just fight our way through it.
You mentioned body language. This seemed to be as about outwardly frustrated as you've been in a game this season. I mean, in a sense, does it feel kind of like a low point, you might say, this season?
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back no-shows pretty much. And the hard part is, like, these are winnable games against teams that, for whatever reason, are around the same standings, but around the same place in the standings, and come in and have games against us. Even Miami, they played a double overtime game last night and came in here and whooped us. So for all the reasons, yeah, it's just not a great feeling. You have nothing to show for it, nothing really to kind of latch onto as like, oh, we're doing this great. If we could only, it seems like both sides of the ball are struggling. They're probably connected. Just if you make shots, usually your confidence goes up, your belief that you can win the game goes up. It helps you play defense. But once you lose that spirit, it's glaring how bad we can be at times. So you got to be able to kind of fight through that.
Stephen, you guys this stretch has gone now since mid-November, so it's going on 2 months now where I think you're 6-15 over that stretch. Obviously, the playoff team, that's the goal here to begin with. How do you stay confident in believing that you guys will get there?
Because there's more games to play. So you're going to put that jersey on whatever day, Thursday, and walk out of the locker room with the confidence that we win that game. And we're professional basketball players. It's our job. That's what we're going to do.
What are the things you need to see and feel?
Just sustain parts throughout the game where you're getting rewarded for the effort and the execution on both ends of the floor. You want to make shots. Like I talked about it going through the holiday break when the calendar changed. We've only had the Philly game really, and the Memphis game when I was out where shots have fallen. Other than that, it's been very, very dry. So you have to. Again, the mental can do a lot in that part, I think, and that's why nobody's giving up hope. You got to have a sense of urgency, though.
Steph, what else could you and Draymond do? You've tried talking to the team. You've even tried celebrating your first shot to go in so that guys would feel that type of joy. And I think Trayce said that Draymond said something like, "We've lost our soul. We have to get back to having more fun and having joy." What else can you guys do to get that going?
At the end of the day, we are a team, and we are all tied together. We're all accountable for the results of each night, how our season ends up. It's not just a me and Draymond thing. It's not just a me thing. It's a we thing. So what we all need to do is just play with confidence, play with assertiveness, play with the belief that you step on the floor, you can beat anybody, whether it happens or not. Again, that has to be the mindset. Again, until things change, like, it is a collective unit that's responsible to win games. And that has to be the way we battle our way through it. It can't just be pointing fingers. It can't just be, oh, what are you going to do to help me? It has to be we have to figure it out. And that's the only way it's going to happen.
Steph, why do you think it's so, I don't want to say so easy, but easier than normal for this team to lose its confidence?
It's a new group. Yeah, we obviously made an in-season trade, so you're trying to build chemistry on the court, on the fly. We were already in a kind of a downward spiral before that happened, and this team hasn't been. This particular team hasn't done anything. Like, there's always comparisons to the 22 season or the last 2 years. Like, this team hasn't done anything, so the confidence can wane if, again, you're missing shots, you're feeling the pressure, you're feeling like everybody's trying to, do a little bit too much to try to get over the hump, trying to maximize the minutes you have out there, and when, you have a bad minute or two, you start maybe overthinking a little bit, getting a little down on yourself. We're all kind of victim of that at times, so I don't know, that's just been the kind of pattern with our group, so we have to be able to address that, acknowledge it, and approach things differently.
You've been through this before. You had 2021, last year points. Does that make it easier, or does it make it more frustrating that you're back in this spot again?
I mean, I hate losing no matter what the situation is. So, the deeper you get into it, you hate having kind of deja vu. So you're trying to not allow your mind to go there, but again, maintain the hope and belief that this team can win. But it's frustrating. Yeah, I hate when you experience winning, you hate losing even more because you know what it takes to get there. And if you don't have the answers, it's a rough feeling on a night to night, especially when nights like tonight happen.
How do you think this team just gets better offensively? That seems to that's 2 straight games under 100 points.
Honestly, I have no idea. I wish we're going to try to figure it out, but I don't have an answer right now on that.
How big a concern is that you don't seem to?
Well, making shots, you could talk about that, but how much of that do you really control? I think tonight we created decent shots. They went on multiple runs and they only scored 114. You feel like, all right, you make a couple shots, it changes the momentum, you're back in the game, but that's Monday morning quarterback and living in fantasy land. I'm like, oh, if this would have happened, we've had too many nights like that. So I don't know what the answer is on what we need to do differently to make shots or what we need to do differently to sustain quality possessions over the course of the game, but if I did, hopefully it wouldn't happen.
Steph, how much is it too that I know you're the guy that's always going to be most nights going to be the leading scorer for the team, but as far as getting the other guys involved and trying to get more of their shots to fall?
I don't know. Everybody, you talk positive to everybody. You have nobody's a charity case out here. Everybody is here for a reason and capable of playing at a high level. So I try to lean into that energy. Miami played zone most of the game. Outside of me, we got up 33 threes. Most of them are decent looks. We just have to make them. That's part of basketball, part of scoring, part of allowing yourself to be in games, even if you're not having your best night. You want to see the ball go in the basket, but you got to continue to think positively, be able to move on to the next shot, the next play, the next game. Not dwell on it too much. It's easier said than done. It's kind of a learned experience, and we got to learn that.
Steve was in here earlier, and he said kind of implied that you can have situations where missed shots affect guys defensively. Do you sense any of that happening too?
That happens all the way down to 9-year-old AAU basketball. Like it's human nature at times, but you can't allow that over multiple games, over multiple weeks, be a constant pattern. Especially because nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to stop the play. Like, yo, let's put the ball in the basket and let them figure it out. Like, that's not being funny, but that's not going to happen. You have to be able to stay locked in on the other intangibles and the presence to lock in, get stops, still communicate too. Like, I think we were a little quiet tonight on the defensive end. But yeah, it preoccupies your mind at times because you're worried about, when's my next look going to be? Why did I miss it? You're thinking about that while you're running in transition. You might lose your man. You might not talk on the switch. And then that's a snowball effect. So mature teams and good teams are able to battle through that. We haven't shown that. I think we can.